Hi, Liz.
Hi, we're at episode 4,
Wow. And
Untangling
we
Truth
are,
in Tech.
and if you're actually watching us in three dimensions, two dimensions, we're actually sitting in the Zoom kitchen trying the immersive view. So if you are watching us with your eyes, you'll see us in the kitchen. We're not actually sitting together, not even in the same state, but we're trying this
No.
for you. And if you are listening, well, enjoy listening to us too. So what are we talking about today?
We've got 3 things to talk about, Fab. We're going to talk about a really interesting and powerful business success hack that I learned during the week working with a client. And we've got a horror story, but one we hear well too often that you're going to talk about how you can avoid that horror story.
Mhm.
And then we have a listener request to talk about how to create a USP, a unique selling proposition for your business, which we do lots of times in coaching sessions and workshops. So that'll be good.
Right. Do you want to share your story first? I'm really
I
excited to hear
will.
about this one.
Yeah, I will. So I visited a fabulous caravan park on the Gold Coast during the week because I'm going to help them with their tourism award submission. And they're obviously very experienced in what they do. And I was really impressed, though, by what not the person who's the most experienced has done, but the one who is the general manager and has been working across 2 parks and managing them for the last couple of years. And what he's implemented is something that's quite unusual in accommodation businesses, and particularly family-run accommodation businesses, is that the park managers who he's hired at each of the parks, he insists that they only work 5 days a week and standard hours. They have a life. And that's really unusual. As I said, with park managers, they're usually 24/7, find it really hard to get away to have a holiday themselves. But what these guys do is they hand back their phones at a reasonable hour in the evening and they have the weekends off. And this is because the GM has implemented wellness as a core value in the business so that staff right up to his level are respected and their time is respected, and he's structured the business accordingly. Now, what this has done is it's saved the money because they're not rehiring every 2 years, because that's
Mm.
when you hire caravan park managers, often they'll only last 2 years because of the burnout. And he's got much higher satisfaction and generally much lower turnover right across the whole team because everyone's healthier and happier. So it's just amazing that such a thing that's unusual in our industry is being implemented, and I'm really pleased with them. They're actually doing really well financially. They're award winning. So if we can't take lessons from them, we can't take them from anyone. So I just think thinking about, often we do, and we get to talking about the USP later, and we talk about values in your business. I never hear people talk about staff wellness as a core value. So I think that was a big learning for me during the week, that we're kind of missing something really important in business.
Right. That's a really good story. I'm keen to obviously we can't really share who it is, but I'm keen to learn a bit more about this, and maybe one day we could get them on the podcast as well.
Absolutely. Yeah, that'd be great to
And
interview.
talking about getting people on the podcast, on our podcast page, you can actually, you listeners, can make a request of what topic you'd like us to cover. So if you are listening to us and you'd like us to cover a specific topic, make sure you do put a request in and we'll do our best. Now it's my turn.
And
I guess it's not the
your
wellness
turn.
story, but the horror
No,
story.
you've got a horror story, and I know you've heard it before. And so hit us up with the sad story, and then what we can do to avoid it, Fab.
Well, it's always the same story, and it's not really sexy, Liz. It's all about passwords and admin logins. But this week I had a call actually yesterday afternoon from a client that we've worked with, in a coaching space for a while, and this client was never really interested in their website. Oh no, I can always talk to my web guy or my web company. They'll do things for me. And this time I actually needed the website login because we were going to create some great content for this client. So I've followed up. I'm like, where's this website login? Yeah, I know. I followed them up. I haven't heard anything. And she's like, oh, and guess what? I've tried to call and the phone's just disconnected. And then I went on their website and there is big 404 errors everywhere. I can't find an email address that doesn't bounce. The only email address she had just bounced. What do you do in this case? Well, the first thing you need to do is you actually need to have admin. That means full access logins to your website and to your domain name and to your control panel. If you have these and the web developer doesn't answer, that's fine. You can save everything. You're the admin. You can take a copy. You can move things. You can access your domain name. But in this instance, this particular client had never logged in her website. She's found emails with login and password. We tried those, none of these worked. So she cannot access her website. I mean, she cannot take a backup of her website. She cannot not access her domain name because it's all connected through to the web developer. So basically, she's stuck. If something happens to the status quo that somehow is holding on the internet for we don't know how, because she can't renew her domain name because that's probably connected to this company. Maybe, I don't know, the person might have passed away if it's a one-person operator. We don't know. But she'll have no domain name, no email address, and no website. The website can always, it's not a huge website. It can easily be recreated quickly, but the problem is the domain name.
Brand.
Because everything is connected to the domain name, yes, and getting these Google rankings. So once again, the not sexy story, but please, I've been going around Australia for about 20 years telling the same thing, is you need a password manager with your admin logins to everything. Don't accept having a user login. You need administrator, full access to website, domain name, control panel, email system. If you've got that, it's your risk management strategy 101 for your digital tools.
And what we often hear is business operators, owners, they don't speak the same language as their web developer, and the web developer will fob them off when they ask questions or ask for this. Remember, you're paying them. They're your supplier. If they're not
your
prepared,
asset.
yes, it's your asset. It's your number one asset. If they're not prepared to give you that admin access, then you've got a problem. That should be a gigantic red flag. And come and chat to us and we'll just point you in the right direction with the questions you can ask and the pathway that you can take to move forward, because that just would be shocking to be in that situation.
Yeah. All right. Well, that was the horror story. What about a cool story about coming up with a great USP?
Yeah, thank you, Kathy, one of our listeners who requested this. USP, unique selling proposition. Why? Why do we want one? We want one because it sits at the heart of all of our communications and marketing, and it drives our business as well. And the test for this is how easily you could respond to a question if Fab or I said to you, why should we buy from your business? Why should we come to your business? Why should we be a customer? How easily can you answer that question in a way that makes you sound like you are different to your competition and you are really matching our needs as your prospective customer? And often when it is hard, you get put on the spot and you feel like you've got to be really word perfect to answer the question, but it doesn't matter. Just from your heart, why? Why should we buy from you? And you've got to be able to be really clear about that in all of your communications. Yes, at a networking event or a trade event or wherever you are in person, but also on your website and in all of your social media accounts and whenever you are communicating. And your brand should communicate that all the time. A USP is typically 1 or 2 sentences. It's just in a nutshell. And it comes from a process of thinking about the value that you offer to your ideal customer and how that is different to your competitors. When we workshop it, in a one-on-one or in a workshop, we will ask people to start with thinking about why they're in business, what they love about delivering the services and their business, and what are the values in that business, because that often sits behind all of the product and service delivery. We will also get them to do a summary persona. So what we mean by that is putting down some descriptions of your ideal customer and what their needs and wants are, profiling them. And what drops out of that is a sentence or two, or just even a few dot points about the value that they get from your business. You're solving a problem of some sort for them. And what is the value that they get? Because what you want is the match between that ideal customer and what you're offering. And you want to be able to articulate that really clearly. Now,
you were telling me earlier today, Liz, that in the workshops, people don't quite understand what a USP is. So what's the mistakes you were telling me about? People thinking, oh, we deliver the best customer service. Can you explain to us why this is not?
I've got to tell you that it is often the go-to for businesses because this is their value. They are really good at customer service, right? So it's true, but they think that stands up as a USP. We provide the best customer service. Everybody says that, even people who don't provide good customer service. So what I ask them to do is to dig deeper. What are the experiences that you provide? What do you actually do with your customers that means you provide great customer service? It can be in that detail that you'll find the gold to describe those services that you provide that do set you apart. So it might be that you enable an experience of learning or great kind of cultural immersion through the experiences that you offer because of the small things that you do, or you introduce them to great local produce or incredible comfort and quietness and relaxation. And all of this is embodied within really good customer service, and they expect that. I mean, customers expect good customer service, don't they? But you've got to dig deeper into the experiences that you offer and what are the values. It may be that quality and luxury are two values of your product and service. Well, they would form part of your unique selling proposition. One of the hacks that we use, though, so after you've really thought about and you're clear about your ideal customer and the values in your business, is to jump onto our little friend ChatGPT and feed it that information as prompts, and then give it your website and say, now scan my website, matching it to my ideal customer persona and the values in my business, and suggest to me what would be great unique selling points that I could use to make my unique selling proposition. Every time we do this, because it's got genuine input from you, the business owner, and you've done a lot of work on your website so that, you're describing a lot of the services that you provide. You've done all that content before. You've got product pages and a homepage. What comes back is normally really, really useful. And then you can work with the ChatGPT output, prompt it further to refine that and to get it, distill it down into 2 sentences. So that's a really good process. I'll just run through that again. Jot down your values as a business, jot down your ideal customer persona traits and the problems that you're solving for them. What's the solution you provide? Feed that into ChatGPT, give it your website address, and then get it to do some of the heavy lifting for you. And when we used to do that manually, sometimes it would take hours, whereas now you can really do that in about 15 minutes and you'll get some really good output. But then what do we do with it, Fab? Where do you suggest people put this unique selling proposition?
Well, I've got a whole list. If you actually go to tourismtribe.com and use the search bar and search for USP, you'll see our blog article about that. But, simple things like obviously on your website, maybe the back of your business cards, on your Facebook, on your Google business profile, on your Instagram, on your links in bio, everywhere that you can, and just teach the staff to also just rattle it off after your business name, or just constantly reiterate it.
Another great place to pop it is on the bottom of your email signature.
Yeah.
So you just constantly, and you might have a couple of versions of it, like the way you write it on your Instagram bio, for example, it's going to be a bit more fun, maybe more dot points, that kind of thing. And you might have a really quick, short version of it that's in your email signature. So on the back of your business card, just keep that same consistency in your messaging so people really know what you're about.
Excellent. All right. Well, I reckon that wraps up today's episode. Three things we learned about a great culture that enables a business to be actually more financially savvy, people to work less and retain staff longer than 2 years. How to avoid a disaster by ensuring you have access to your admin credentials in your password manager, and a great example of a USP or how to come up with one. Fantastic.
Perfect. See you on the other side out of our, what are we in? An immersion room, Fab, on Zoom?
Yeah, in the kitchen. I'm going straight to the cocktail bar. No.
Love it.
All right. Bye, everyone. Bye, Liz.
Thanks, everyone.
You.
Bye.